Hi all, a very great morning to all. In today's class, we will discuss about diversity in the living world, which is of chapter 1 of class 11 biology, and this will be helpful as a quick revision notes, especially those who completed the topic and those that are trying to complete it or revise it. This video will be very helpful for it. Before going into the concept, if you are visiting my channel for the first time, please do subscribe and press the bell icon so that you will get all my videos as notification. So let's start the concept. Coming to the characteristics of living organism. What are the characteristics of living organisms? Growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, consciousness, self-replicating and self-regulation. These all are considered as the characteristics of living organisms, and in these characteristics, reproduction and growth are not defining properties. So we cannot define a living organism based on reproduction and growth. Coming to metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness are considered as the defining properties. So what are the defining properties of living organisms or defining characteristics of living organisms? Metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness are considered as defining properties, whereas reproduction and growth are not defining properties. And coming to biodiversity, what is meant by biodiversity? Generally, we know the definition or the meaning of the word biodiversity. It is bio means life and diversity means variety of living organisms. This term is used to refer the number of variety of plants and animals which are present on earth. So when we use the term biodiversity, it defines about the variety of plants and variety of animals which are present on the earth. What is the need for classification? So when we talk about the need or necessity of classification, it helps us to understand the organism like plant or animal, and this helps to organize the vast number of plants and animals into categories that could be named, remembered, studied, and finally we can understood. The classification is a very important tool for understanding, naming and categorizing as well as studying the vast number of plants and animals. And the next concept we have is rules for nomenclature. So what are the rules to be followed while naming an organism? Either it could be a plant or animal. What are the things to be kept in our mind while giving names or categorizing? So all are Latinized names. The names which we give are used in order to name an organism, we use Latinized names, and we use two words. In the two words, first one is genus, second word is species. These, if it is printed, it has to be in italics, or if handwritten, then they have to be underlined separately. And one more thing is, capital letter is used for starting the genus, and species name is written in small letter and italic font. Once again, we will go through the rules of nomenclature. Latinized names have to be used. The first word used is called as genus and the second word used is called as species. And if they are printed, if it is available in printed text, it has to be in italics, or if it is handwritten, they have to be underlined separately. And the first word starts with capital letter, and while species name starts or it is written in small letter. Coming to the other codes which helps in naming organisms, like for naming the plants, we have ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, which helps or which gives the scientific names to plant. And coming to animals, and if you want to give the naming or scientific name to animals, it is done by ICZN, which is also called as International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Zoological nomenclature is done by ICZN. Botanical nomenclature is done by ICBN. And coming to the study of principles and procedures of classification is called as taxonomy. So what to be written for the definition of taxonomy? Study of principles and procedures of classification is termed as taxonomy. Coming to binomial nomenclature. The system of binomial nomenclature was given by Carolus Linnaeus. In this scientific name, it has two components. One is generic name and specific epithet. The generic name and specific epithet both are called as binomial names for a particular organism. And coming to the term systematics. Systematic deals with the classification of organisms based on their diversities and relationships among them. This term was proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, who wrote the book Systema Naturae. Systematics deals with classification of organisms based on their diversities and relationship among them, and this term was given by Linnaeus in his book Systema Naturae. Coming to the taxonomical hierarchy. Taxonomical hierarchy is nothing but the arrangement of various steps of classification. The categories are nothing but taxa or ranks. See, the order goes like this. When we see the down, species, species to genus, family, order, class, phylum is given for animals, division is given for plants, and kingdom. Beyond kingdom we have two more, but it is good enough here. Species, genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, and kingdom. These are the taxonomical hierarchy order which we have to follow, and we will see one by one what it gives. Coming to species. All the members that can interbreed among themselves and can produce fertile offspring are the members of the same species. So what are species? Species are the members of the same species that can interbreed among themselves and they can produce fertile offspring. So this we can write as the definition for species. Coming to genus. Genus comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. Genera are aggregates of closely related species. So simply we can define genus as a group of related species which has common characteristics more, and when it is compared with other species, these will have more similarities. And genera can also be called as an aggregate of closely related species. Coming to family. What the family defines? Family has a group of related genera with a still less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. And keep one thing in mind, as we go from species to life or species to kingdom, the similarities will decrease from one level to the next level, and this is because the diversity starts to be more. And family has group of related genera, and families are characterized on the basis of both the vegetative and reproductive features of plant species, and in the same as animal species also. Families are characterized on what basis? The question may be asked, or the bit may be framed like, what are the characteristics on which families are based? We have to give as both vegetative and reproductive features. Coming to the next one, which is order. Order being a higher category, it is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are less in number as compared to the different genera included in a family. So as I have earlier mentioned that as we go from the low level to the high level, the similarities or the similar characters will become less in number. That is what the statement gives. Order consists of a group of family, assemblage of families, and next order is class. The next two order is class. It consists of related orders. Closely related orders all together are kept in a class. Coming to the phylum. Phylum is the taxonomical ranking that comes third in the hierarchy of classification. So what is the position of phylum in the hierarchy of classification? From the top it is third. When we take the ranking up to domain, so when we consider species to domain, phylum ranking or the phylum taxonomical level will be third from the top. That comes after domain and kingdom. Organisms in a phylum share a set of characters or characteristics that distinguish them from organisms in another phylum. So the organisms which are placed in a phylum shares a set of characteristics that which differ them from other organisms in another phylum. Coming to the last one, as per our text, is kingdom. Carl Linnaeus first used the term in 1700s to describe the highest order of life. So what made him to use the term is he thought that kingdom is the highest order of life, and he considered that there are two main groups of life that were kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. That later on the biochemists and microbiologists changed the view in 1900s, but the first term which was used by Carl Linnaeus to give the grouping was kingdom. It was in 1700s to give the highest order of life. So the two main groups of life according to Carolus Linnaeus was Plantae and Animalia. And coming to the next concept, three domains of life. One of the important concepts in this chapter, three domains of life was proposed by Carl Woese in the year 1990. He was the one who proposed the sixth kingdom of classification for living organisms as well. So coming to the three domains, what are the three domains? The three domains are archaic, bacteria and eukaryote. The three domains of life are archaic, bacteria and eukaryote. So coming to the domains and their examples, I try to give the chart here. So coming to the example of archaic, we have Archaebacteria. Coming to eubacteria, we have Monera. Coming to eukaryota, we have Protista, Mycota, Plantae and Animalia. These are the three domains of life according to Carl Woese. Later on it has been changed. Coming to herbarium. What is herbarium? Herbarium is the storehouse of dried, pressed and preserved plant specimen on sheets. So we see charts or long white charts on which plants are pasted or pressed on it, dried, and we will write the genus name, species name and all. So this helps us to understand or study about the plant which we are observing. It helps as a specimen. And coming to botanical gardens. Botanical gardens are the collection of living plants for reference. One who studies or one who learns botany more, or one who want to read or the study of plant, he has to visit botanical garden so that he will get more information. And barium, we will get the detailed information about each and every plant which is stored as a specimen. Coming to the taxonomical aids of diversity lesson, we have 5 important taxonomical aids which helps in understanding or clear-cut definitions for the better knowledge of organisms or plants. The first in this is zoological park. Zoological parks are the places where wild animals are kept in protected environment. To study them and to preserve them, we bring wild animals from the forest and place them or it may be in the protected environment within the forest as well. And coming to the keys, we have a special set of keys which are used for identification of plants and animals on the basis of similarities and dissimilarities. There are set of rules and set of procedures like keys which helps to identify the plant and animals. And coming to flora, flora gives us about the plant species index which is found in a particular area. So one who asked about what is the flora of that particular region, so if we ask that we want to know about what are all the plant species that are available in that particular area. Coming to manuals, what are manuals? Manuals are helpful in giving the information for identification of names of species in an area. As we have vernacular names and scientific names, so in order to get a clear understanding about both the different local names and the scientific names, manuals helps us to have a clear idea of it. And coming to monograph, monograph gives a detailed information about only one taxon. If we want to know about a complete detail of one particular taxon, we can go with monographs, and manuals provide us information about identification of names of species in that particular area. Coming to flora, and one more thing I forgot is fauna, which gives about the animal species found in that particular area. Keys helps to identify the plants and animals based on similarities and dissimilarities. Zoological parks are the places where wild animals are kept in protected environment. So these are the very important topics or very important points which are to be remembered or to be gone through in the lesson 1. Hope you all liked my video and you got some clear understanding about the concept. Thank you.